Hello guys, so today we are going to talk about data cleaning in machine learning in Python. So basically data cleaning is identified as fixing errors or any irrelevant data or duplicates that are found in a data set. Basically data cleaning helps us to improve on the accuracy, on visualization and help us make better decisions on our data. So data cleaning is basically important and that's what we are going to discuss, because if we find data that has duplicates or maybe irrelevant data, missing data, if you use that data on making decision, it might affect your decision. Maybe the quality of the results might be poor or low. So data cleaning is basically most important in machine learning. So what we are going to do in this tutorial, we are going to discuss the 4 points in data cleaning. So the 4 points are, we are going to discuss on how to do away with the missing data, how to do away with the wrong format data, how to correct it, how to correct the wrong data entered in the data set, or to remove the duplicates that are found in the data. So first thing first, we are going to do the library we are going to use is pandas. Pandas is a Python library that's basically used for cleaning data, exploring, and maybe manipulating and analyzing data. So it's a library that it's most basically used in machine learning, and that's what we are going to use to clean the data. So onto your Anaconda prompt, you're going to install the pandas library. So pip install pandas. So give it some seconds or at most 1 minute for it to install pandas. So after you're done installing, it takes maybe 1 to 3 minutes. According if maybe some of your libraries are installed. So after installing, now we head to our code. So this is the dataset we are going to use on our code to explain on how to do the data cleaning. As you can see, we have some non values in our dataset. So we are going to clean that. So first thing first, now after installing, now you create a file data cleaning.py, or you can name it in any way you want to name it. So this is the dataset. I'm going to share it to you on the description. So on the data cleaning points, we are going to start on the missing data. So let's deal with the missing data are the non-values on our dataset. So first thing first, on the file of the program we created, import the pandas as pd. Then after installing pandas, we are going to read the file, the data file. So name it data frame. Data frame is equals to pd.read csv. Maybe you have a text file, you're going to just read it with the read underscore csv, passing the name of the data file .csv. That's been the data frame. Let's see the data frame. Maybe you can print on head prints there from 1 to 5. Let's print Python data underscore cleaning. Right. So that's the top 5 from our dataset. So maybe because our dataset it's not that big, maybe you can print all of it. Hope the data frame can print all of the data because the file is in trash. So as you can see, it's from index 0 to 31. So what we are going to deal with is the non-values. How to deal with the non-values from our dataset. So to do away with the clearing the non-values, first point you can do is maybe delete them. You can delete the non-values because these are small data sets. But maybe perhaps you can release on this way. You have a large data sets, maybe for a columns of maybe data sets with 1,000 and columns and rows. So probably maybe to feed in the data sets for non-values, and maybe the data types are different. For example, you can take the date and the calories. So these values are different. And maybe you can't just pick the calories and fill all of them, and maybe date, and maybe perhaps in a row you can maybe take a row which has 1,000 columns. So and maybe it has like 100 columns with non-values. You can just fill over all of the added columns and maybe the data types are different. So what you can do, for me, what I can recommend on the non-values, because they can't just affect the results that much. One thing I would consider is to drop the non-values. But if the dataset isn't that big, you can maybe feed in the non-values. So let me just explain with the drop, how to drop the non-values. So just going to take the data frame dot drop now, meaning drop the non-values. Sorry for that. Drop non-values. You call that function on the data frame. But again, this can't change the data because you have to pass in the in place equals true so that the data frame can the original data frame can change. If maybe you don't want to pass in the in place equals true, and maybe create a new data frame like that. But I will comment the in place, so you just don't need to create the new data frame variable. So that is it. Let's see whether the non-values will be dropped. The row number 18 and 22. Let's see. 18 was dropped and 22. Yeah, you can see non-values were dropped. And this data, the non-values that were deleted, this data, the remaining data can be used to analyze what we want. The two rows just can't affect the results that much. So you can maybe just do away with it. The second thing you can do is to fill the non-values. For this, maybe you can just take the median of all these values. The median is the middle values. After these all values are sorted maybe in a certain order. So the middle value you can just use it to fill on the non-values. The other thing, maybe you can fill it using the mode. You calculate the mode of all these values, then the mode you get, you fill in on the non-values. Or maybe you can use the mean to get the mean of all these values. Then on the non-values, you can fill in with the mean value. So let's demonstrate that on the code. We are going to demonstrate on Carolis. So what we are going to do on replacing the values, the non-values. So we are going to maybe first comment out this the dropping of non-values. So you're going to calculate the mean of the column, this column here, the mean. You can use the mean, the median, or the mode. So we are going to use the mean to replace the non-values. So we are going to calculate the mean of all these existing values. Then when you get the mean, we are going to replace it on the non-values. So let's do that. So calculate the x value. You can call it the x value. That's for the mean of the data frame column. All this, then dot mean. So if you're going to use the median or the mode, you're just going to replace this word. If it's median, mode, yeah, just replace there. So we get the mean. That's the mean of the Carolis values. Then we are going to replace the Carolis dot. Now we are going to fill the non-values with x value. Then to change the original data frame, we are going to pass in the in place equals true. So let's see whether the Carolis non-values are replaced. 18. You can see 18. This is the mean that was replaced. The non-value was replaced with this value and 28. Yeah, you can just replace. But these are for the some columns that may be having the non-values that can be replaced. But again, when you come to something like date, maybe for big data, you can't just replace the value of a date. For example, here, if we calculate the mean of the date, you might perhaps get date 14. And when you replace date 14 on the non-values, it just doesn't add up, because this data, basically it's explaining about someone who has been going to gym sessions. So when you can see the dates are following up. So when you come to replace the value here, it will just it's not going to add up. So these are for filling the non-values, are for columns that have values that can fit in well when they are replaced. So And that's all for dealing with the missing data on your dataset. So for the next video, we are going to talk about the wrong format data and on how to in the wrong format data in our dataset. So thank you.